And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics. Let's now move on to the Android Basics area. And this time we're talking about One UI, and we continue our journey through the One UI settings. If you have a Samsung device, you know what we're talking about. And in the past, we had talked about accessibility. And today, though, we're talking about part 2 of the accessibility, where we talked about interaction and dexterity. Here's John to give us a prelude of that segment.
Hello, welcome back to our continuing series on Samsung One UI. Today we'll be covering more of the accessibility settings. Last time we covered TalkBack and vision enhancements. Today we will be covering hearing enhancements and then interaction and dexterity. So I'm here in the accessibility settings, and just under TalkBack we have
hearing enhancements.
I'm going to go in here.
Hearing enhancements. Navigate up. Button.
Now, I will be a lot less chatty in this section because, to be quite honest, I'm not fully sure what 100% of these settings do because I don't use them, but we can explore together.
Hearing enhancements.
The first option we have in here is
real-time text.
Let's go in here to see the description.
Real-time text. Navigate up. Button. Real-time text (RTT) is an alternative to external TTY devices. You can use RTT to communicate via text while on a voice call. What you need to know when using RTT bullet. To use RTT, you need to be connected to a 4G LTE or 5G network, or have Wi-Fi calling turned on, bullet. You can use RTT when communicating with a person's phone that supports RTT or is connected to a TTY device, bullet. During an RTT call, the other person can see you type each letter in your message, bullet. To always see the RTT option for calls, set the RTT call option to always visible in settings.
Backing out.
Hearing enhancements. Real-time text.
Next we have
Live transcribe.
live transcribe. This is captioning for real life. So what happens is you can have your phone, if this is turned on, you can have your phone listening to what people are saying around you, and it will show you that in text on the screen.
Live transcribe. Navigate up. Button. About Live transcribe. When using Live transcribe, you can type responses to the transcription you see on screen. Get alerts when your name is spoken. Search within transcriptions. Google processes your conversations, but never stores them.
All right, backing out.
Hearing enhancements. Live transcribe.
Next.
Live caption. Off.
Live caption. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just you can have captions appear on your screen for whatever content is playing on your screen. So if there's a video that you're watching that does not have captions, your phone will listen to the media stream and give you captions.
Caption preference.
Caption preference, you can adjust the size of the text and the color of the text.
Hearing aid support.
Hearing aid support, let's go see what's in here.
Hearing aid support. Navigate up. Button. Hearing aid compatibility. Adjust your phone's audio so it works better with hearing aids off switch.
So I have that off.
Bluetooth hearing aids. Tap to connect.
And here's where you would connect a hearing aid. Backing out.
Hearing enhancements. Hearing aid support.
After this we have
sound notifications.
And I believe this lets you know if there's a baby crying or a siren or an alarm. Let's see.
Sound notifications. Navigate up. Button. About sound notifications. Audio and background conversations aren't sent to Google unless you choose to send feedback about sound quality. Open sound notifications.
I'm going to open it.
Live transcribe and sound notifications. Welcome to sound notifications. Heading. Get notified about important sounds around you, like when a smoke alarm beeps or a baby cries. Choose sounds that matter to you. Save custom appliance sounds. Customize how you're notified. Audio and background conversations aren't sent to Google unless you choose to send feedback about sound quality. Keep in mind, sound notifications may not be able to detect all sounds. Learn more about sound notifications. Button.
So, backing at it, that gave you an idea.
Sound notifications. Open sound notifications.
I'm going to back out again.
Hearing enhancements. Sound notifications.
I thought it was interesting that you could add your own custom sounds. I'm assuming that means if your microwave makes a specific sound, you can record that sound, and if it ever hears that sound again, you'll get a notification. That's pretty cool. But moving on to the next item.
Amplify ambient sound.
I think this is self-explanatory.
Amplify ambient sound. Navigate up. Button. Amplify the world around you. Hear distant sounds clearly and put the focus on conversations even when you're somewhere noisy. To use this feature, connect your headphones. Amplify ambient sound shortcut.
That's all that's in here.
Hearing enhancements. Amplify ambient sound.
Next.
Adapt sound. Adapt sound. Navigate up. Button. Adapt sound gives you perfect sound that's tuned just for your ears. It works whenever you're wearing headphones. Choose a preset that matches your age or take a hearing test to create a personalized sound profile.
So there you go. You can take a test, and if you're bad at hearing certain frequencies, it will enhance those frequencies.
Hearing enhancements. Adapt sound. Off adapt sound. Switch. Mute all sounds.
Mute all sounds. I don't have to go in here. This just completely mutes your phone forever. So if you're deaf and you never want your phone making any sounds, whether it be notifications, media, or anything, then you would turn this on.
Off mute all sounds. Switch.
And then your speakers basically become useless. If you don't need them, why have them active, right?
Mono audio. Play the same sound out of both speakers.
This, if you have severe hearing loss in one ear, you can have both channels come out of both ears so that you're not missing anything.
Off mono audio. Switch. Left/right sound balance. Not used for calls.
And then, similar to the mono, but if you just have slight hearing loss in one ear, you can make that speaker always be a little bit louder, and you can adjust accordingly. Let's see what we have here.
Connected audio.
So for if you're using a headset,
100% left, 100% right. Connected audio. Slider.
so here's the slider you would adjust. It's in the center right now.
Phone speakers.
Then you can adjust for the phone speakers separate from the headset.
100% left, 100% right. Phone speakers. Slider.
And that's everything we have in the hearing enhancements section. So backing out.
Accessibility. Hearing enhancements.
Next,
Interaction and dexterity.
for the second half of this segment, we're going to go in here.
Interaction and dexterity. Navigate up. Button. Interaction and dexterity.
The first item in here is
Universal switch. Use external accessories to control your phone and select items on the screen. Universal switch. Navigate up. Button. For people who have difficulty touching the screen, Universal switch lets you select items and take actions with switches instead of touches.
So that's the description of that.
Interaction and dexterity. Universal switch. Use external accessories to control your phone and select items on the screen.
Next we have
Assistant menu. Show a menu of easy-to-reach buttons that let you replace hard keys, gestures, and other common interactions.
This is not something I've ever explored, but let's see what's in here.
Assistant menu. Navigate up. Button. Select assistant menu items.
Let's see what we can add to this menu.
Select items. Navigate up. Button. Home. Back. Screen off. Volume. Screenshots. Notification panel. Pinch zoom. Power. Cursor. Screen control. Menu settings. Brightness. Screen rotation. Talk to Bixby. Open Bixby. Magnification. Emergency SOS.
So a lot of useful functions that you can have quick access to in a menu if that makes it easier for you than dealing with buttons. Backing out.
Assistant menu. Select assistant menu items.
Below this we have,
Select apps to show contextual menus with.
let's go in here and see what apps are compatible.
Select apps. Navigate up. Button. All apps. Off switch. Camera. Off switch. Contacts. Off switch. Messages. Off switch. Phone. Off switch. Samsung Internet. Off switch. Settings. Off switch.
So you have a few apps. Those are all that's showing up for me.
Assistant menu. Select apps to show contextual menus with.
And below this we have,
Replace swipe with single tap. Respond to alarms, alerts, and incoming calls by tapping instead of swiping. Off switch.
that's nice.
Assistant menu shortcut.
This is the shortcut you would assign to it, accessibility shortcut, if you want to turn it on and off.
Assistant menu size. Medium.
Then you can adjust the size of it
Transparency.
and transparency.
Decrease. Button. 14%. Transparency. Increase. Button. Show as edge icon. Off switch.
And whether you want it to show as an edge icon or not. And the last item we have here,
Touchpad and cursor control.
but I will not go in there. Backing out.
Interaction and dexterity. Assistant menu. Show a menu of easy-to-reach buttons that let you replace hard keys, gestures, and other common interactions.
After this we have,
Voice access. Off.
this is a way to use voice control to control your device if you can't interact with it physically. Below this,
Interactions. Heading.
the interactions heading.
Answering and ending calls.
Let's go see what we have in here.
Answering and ending calls. Navigate up. Button. Read caller names aloud.
You can turn this on or off. Within here, I do not think this applies to people using TalkBack. This only applies to people not using TalkBack,
Off read caller names aloud. Switch.
because TalkBack will always read it no matter what.
Answer automatically.
If you want it to just answer anytime anybody calls you, not something I would want to do, but it's here.
Off answer automatically. Switch. Press volume up to answer calls. On. Switch.
One of my favorite things about Samsung phones, this is the easiest way to answer a call, in my opinion. Just press volume up.
Press side button to end calls. Off switch.
And this is pretty standard in Android. If you want the power key or side key to end a phone call, you can turn it on or off here. Backing out.
Interaction and dexterity. Answering and ending calls. Interaction control. Block touches for the back, home, and recents buttons, the keyboard, and the selected area of the screen.
So this is interesting.
Interaction control. Navigate up. Button.
Let's see what it says.
Interaction control keeps the focus on a single app by blocking the back, home, and recents buttons, as well as incoming calls and notifications. You can also choose whether to block the side button, volume buttons, and keyboard, or block touches from an area of the screen. To use interaction control. 1. Turn on the shortcut below. 2. While using the app you want to focus on, use the shortcut to activate interaction control. Interaction control shortcut.
And here's where you would assign the shortcut.
Off interaction control shortcut. Switch.
Then below this,
Lock screen when deactivated. On. Switch. Disabled.
backing out.
Interaction and dexterity. Interaction control. Block touches for the back, home, and recents buttons, the keyboard, and the selected area of the screen.
After this we have
Touch settings. Heading. Touch and hold delay. Very short, 0.3 seconds.
you can adjust how long you want to have to touch and hold something. This does also apply to TalkBack users who double tap and hold to simulate a regular touch and hold. Below this,
Tap duration. Set how long an interaction needs to be held to be recognized as a tap, disabled.
you can adjust this if you don't want quick taps to be registered as taps and you want to have to specify a duration for your finger to be on the screen in order for it to be registered. The reason this is disabled is because this does not apply to TalkBack users, because when you double tap, that sends a regular tap to the operating system. So that's why we can't even go in here with TalkBack enabled.
Ignore repeated touches. Set a time within which to ignore repeated touches, disabled.
I think that is self-explanatory and disabled for the same reason.
Mouse and physical keyboard. Heading.
Then we have mouse and keyboard settings.
Auto action after pointer stops.
So that is pretty self-explanatory, but I think there's more to this, so let's go in here.
Auto action after pointer stops. Navigate up. Button. Use auto click to have a click happen automatically, and use corner actions to assign actions to the corners of your screen. Auto click and corner actions will happen after your pointer stops moving for a set amount of time.
Yeah, so you can adjust each corner if you put the mouse in that corner. If you want a specific action to take place after a certain amount of time, you can have that happen. So you'd set all the corners here if you want to use that feature, and then you can also adjust the duration of how long after the pointer stops to activate something. Going back.
Interaction and dexterity. Auto action after pointer stops.
Next we have
Sticky keys. When you press a modifier key like Shift, Control, or Alt, it will stay pressed so you can enter keyboard shortcuts one key at a time, off switch.
so you don't have to hold modifier keys.
Slow keys. Type by touching and holding for a set time to avoid accidental key presses.
So similar to what I discussed earlier with how long you need to tap the screen for it to register, you can also have that apply to the keyboard.
Bounce keys. Prevent accidental key presses by setting a delay before a second tap on the same key is accepted.
And again, similar to the touch setting earlier, if you have shaky hands and you want it to ignore quick repeated keystrokes, you can turn that on here. And this brings us to the end of the interaction and dexterity section and the end of what we are covering today in the accessibility settings. We will pick it up again in the next installment. Now I'll send it back to the crew for further discussion. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, John. Even though you're not here with us today, you're having a party out there. That's what we're talking about, parties and all of that great stuff. Now, guys, is there anything that jumps out on you here in this segment? Everything, though, that John talked about, is very clear, whether you are someone that you have difficulty with dexterity. The accessibility section here has something for you.
He did it really clear, and I have nothing else to say about that.
Well, for me, I like the adaptive sound thing. It's something nice. In fact, I did the hearing test before to try to make the audio adapt to my hearing. It's interesting, I think. It's something cool. Actually, I'm not using it right now, but I did it before. And I think that it's good to try to see if there will be a difference. Because, with age, your hearing is impacted. The frequencies that you can hear are impacted. So it's a good feature, I think. The other thing that I like is the ability to answer calls with volume key. I don't use it myself, but I think many people do. And it's something not available on Pixels, as far as I know. And
Oh
well,
boy, there we go about the pixels again. I knew this was coming.
this is the truth, actually.
It is true.
Well, now you will tell me that Google doesn't include this on pixels because they want us to not make the volume up key malfunction or something because Google loves us. I know that you are going to defend Google in a way or another, but it's okay. No problem. But yeah, it's really a good thing.
No, I think it's always nice to have different ways of answering calls because we all, and we're talking about, dexterity here and things of that nature. So if one has difficulty, maybe either swiping up with two fingers or, double tapping with two fingers, let's have another way. Or if you want to use a power button or use the volume key to answer your calls, we should have those options. And I think Samsung nails it when it comes to this answering and ending calls. I can't argue with that.
That's good. You're improving, it seems.
Well, I'm a very objective guy. So it's just a good thing, really, because I may not like how I, swipe up to answer. I mean, that's the one I use, and it's like second nature to me. But we have people using different phones and all of that. So yeah, kudos to Samsung. They've always had this, and I think there's another one, right? I think like it's a fifth way of answering calls. I think you can even answer using your voice. Used to be, I don't know if it still is. I don't use my Samsung device for making calls, so I don't remember.
I don't use Bixby. I don't know if Saleh does, but I disabled Bixby, so I don't answer this. But
No, I don't.
do you
use it either. No, I don't really use it. I tried using it, and no, not for me. I even have my own voice on Bixby, but no, I prefer the real voice of myself.
I tried doing that and I hated it. It's just I asked it to tell me about the weather, and my voice came up in a very bad way, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm like, ditch that. It's not happening.
Yeah, but going back to accessibility stuff, actually, some things are not only for people who are having difficulties like impairments. Like it's good to go to the hearing section, to go to the dexterity section, because you may find things that will help you, like the adaptive sound that I was talking about. So you don't need to be a person with hearing impairment to get to benefit from the adaptive sound thing, for example. And you don't need to be a person with dexterity issues to use power button to end the calls. Actually, I use this for my mom's phone. Actually, I have it on her phone. So, and other sighted people could use it. So it's not something that is just specifically for people with issues. So I think it's always better to go to the settings of your phone and check all of the sections. Oh, and another thing I want to say is regarding the first thing that John talked about in the hearing section for people who are deaf. So this is not available on all devices. At least I don't have it on my phone. I don't know if it's country specific or if it's phone specific, but I don't have it here on the A55.
There's something that you mentioned earlier, Karen, that I think is of great importance. Now, like you said, one doesn't have to have some disability in order to use this, because frankly, let's be honest. For example, say I'm on the phone or whatever, or I just pick up the phone while the call is coming in. You could use that volume or power to answer the call, but then also you can use that to end the call. You don't have to look at the screen, because if you're sighted, you have to look at that end call. But if you have this, it's just like natural. You just hit that volume key or power key to end that call. So it's something that is good for all of us. I mean, for me, I always have to, tap on that end call or use that double tapping with two fingers, which I rarely do. So if one has this, it's a good thing. And for me, I think the reason why I kind of didn't like the Samsung, I kept hanging up people because when I answer the call and I want to shut off the screen, right? So I forgot that the power was by default to end the call or whatever. I didn't remember that. And I kept hanging up people. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be using this for calls. And then you can also turn it off. I went and turned that thing off because I would rather use that volume instead, because I always want to shut off my phone screen when I'm on a call. There's no need for me to leave my screen on. And then, that power ending the call was not a good thing. But at least one could use the volume key to do so, which is absolutely great. So, like I said, Samsung has it done right here, and I'm giving them props.
Yeah, as a Samsung user, I also enjoy using that feature. It's very convenient for me. So like what Kerry said, you don't need to be hearing impaired to use those dexterity settings. So yeah, but like what Warren is saying, once in a while I forget, so I end up hanging up on people.
Yeah, and it's not cool when you hang up
it's
on
not
someone,
cool.
right? Then you have to call back and say, I'm sorry, I
I'm sorry for
mistakenly
that.
hang you up.
It was technology.
Yeah, so overall, it's a good thing to use, and I'm glad we have it.